Good afternoon, everyone out there in YouTube land. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. This is going to be a state of the fleet video for the end of 2024, beginning 2025. What we have, where we are, and what the plans are for the channel. Without further ado, let's get started. Guess we will get started with the 1995 Mazda Miata MX-5 in a generation. This one has come back on the channel recently as I have replaced the soft top. And that was kind of a big endeavor. I'm still letting it stretch out, but you can see it's here. It looks amazing except for the ash from the fire on it. It's burning off some yard trash. So here it is. It does run, it does drive. It still needs some work before I have it where I want it. For example, the door buzzers, which on a Miata are located over here, they no worky. So I need new door jamb sensors either side. That needs to be fixed. I have a new steering wheel on the way because this one's kind of just the leather wrap's falling apart. And I got the steering wheel for $75 shipped, and new leather wraps about $60 before shipping. So I just wanted the steering wheel. Looks really good. That needs to be replaced. I intend to put a double din in here with the converter because that's shot. As you can see, this is a wee bit sloppy. But door card, couple other odds and ends. That'll take care of the inside. I think there's also possibly a bad fuel pressure regulator or a dying fuel pump I need to address, but nothing hugely mechanically wrong with this one. This one, it's very clear the issue with it is the paint. It's bad. The clear coat started to fail earlier this year, so now it looks like Japanese pottery, which I guess being a Japanese car, that works. This will be my first vehicle that I try to paint, and it's probably going to be a single stage paint or some tractor paint. I've never painted a vehicle before in my life. I haven't the faintest clue of what I'm doing. But I will make the necessary upgrades to my compressor so that I can actually run a spray gun. Oh my. Pretty sure that's not supposed to do that. So now I gotta really wonder, is that just coming out? Or did somebody blow the airbag and try to replace it? Ooh, that I'll have to dig into. But anyway, I will try to paint it because now you have this really amazing looking top and it looks like junk. But we're going to fix that. I don't know if it'll be right, but it will be different. That brings us to our 1989 Ford F350 7.3 liter IDI diesel, Miss Bertha. And she hasn't been doing too much recently. You haven't seen her on the channel very much. I've got a pile of parts to put in, but what kind of stopped me cold with her is I was moving her around the yard one day and bang! I think an injector went on me. So then I started digging into it and went, oh, I kind of sort of need to probably service get the injection pump rebuilt and get the injectors replaced or rebuilt. Apparently with diesels, that's something you got to do every 150,000 miles, and I'm pretty sure it's never been done. So anyway, I have in here, I've got all sorts of goodies. I'm going to convert the pan to a 4R100 pan, so it'll have a built-in drain bolt. I've got all the weather stripping, so I can replace all of that and make that all nice. I've got headlight relay so that I won't keep melting headlight switches, which is a common issue with this era of Ford. We've got LED lights from Oxido. not sponsored. What else we got? We got weather stripping and that. I've got all sorts of goodies in here that are just sitting and I need to get around to it. Oh, that's an actual Motorcraft part. Ooh, I'm fancy. Motorcraft transmission filter. So anyway, we've got some content for it, but the big thing that's holding Bertha back is the fact that, yeah, she'll run, she'll drive, but she's wounded with a blown injector, and I need to take care of that, but that's money. A new set of injectors or even a rebuild plus an IP, an injection pump, you're looking at $800, and that's a lot. I mean, I do not pull in that much a month from this channel, so just do what we can with what we have. But otherwise, she's just kind of chilling. She's got fresh tires. You know, the braking system is pretty much straightened out and much better. The internal wiring is better. I fixed the glow system. So I haven't forgotten about her. I do want to switch over to her. She's got a lot more towing capacity, and ultimately I want to put a turbo in, but these things take money and time. The time I can slowly get, but I try to make sure I don't spend too much of my day job money on my hobby. I try to make my hobby pay for itself. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That brings me to one of my main workhorses in the fleet, 2001 Ford F-250, named Miss Mildew, with the Triton 5.4 liter 2-valve. She is still getting it done. She's got fresh tires. I haven't really had to do much maintenance on her at all. The one thing I had to do is, after coming back from a trip, I noticed that the idle was getting dodgy, and I correctly diagnosed it as a bad idle air control valve. So I replaced that, and now I had to do a relearn, but she's great. So she is solid, desperately needs a bath. The one thing that we should see out of her this year is replacing the bed. It is failing severely in the front, and the cross beams underneath are in really bad shape. The first two are basically shot. This one, the third one's not great, and the fourth one's okay. When you actually put a load in here and you hit bumps, the whole bed just flexes. It's bad. But I do have a replacement. That's over here. It is from a similar era of Ford. It's even white, so it'll match. And it's bed lined. I know you can't see that because it's upside down, but it is bed lined, and it's in really good shape, except for that. The first cross beam is rotted out, and I need to go buy a kit, get a new one in, get this out. It's doable. I'm not going to go as far as to say as I taught myself how to weld, but I know how to weld, sort of. I can stick metal together, dang it, and that should be enough. Or I'll use rivets, or I'll use self-tappers. I'll use something, and I'll get that replaced. And I finally also have all the tools I need to put it all together and make it happen. The only thing left I need to get is I need to get the crane attachment where there's a specific tool you can run across a bed and clamp it, and then you can come in with something to lift the bed up and away. So you can get your old one off, your new one on. I now have the air tools necessary to chisel off the heads of the stuck bolts so that I can lift it free and then extract the rest of the bolt. So she's still workhorse. She's still getting it done. She's approaching 300,000 miles. I will make a short little clip when we hit that milestone, but she's still trucking. I am very pleased with this truck. That brings us over here to a new addition to the channel that I have not actually made an introductory video on. This is a 2016 Outdoors with an S RV. 20FQ is the shorthand for the model. Basically it's a 20-foot creekside camper, and not much going on with it right now. I paid good money for this, and because I actually paid real money for something versus it being super cheap, it means it's not clapped out. It means it just works. There's not really anything wrong with it. I need to redo some caulking. The awning will need to be replaced. It was in Texas basically its whole life, and the Texas sun is just as brutal as the Florida sun, and that awning's just falling apart. You know, there's some caulking I need to redo. You know, it's been 10 years, so that's getting worn out. I'm going to add plans for this year. Besides doing that basic maintenance I've just talked about, I will add a view system so that when you tow this thing, you'll have a display in the truck and you'll have good visibility around the sides and back. Because holy cow, when you're going down I-10 and everybody's going 80 miles an hour and you can't see, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It is ridiculous. I'm going to get a better power setup. Right now, this is running into an adapter down yonder, and it's just 15 amp versus 30. And I'll go into that more in the introductory walkthrough video for this guy and what the plans are for it and all that jazz. But suffice it to say, it's here, it's in one piece. A lot of work's going to happen on the interior, hopefully this year. As I film this, it is January 3rd, 2025. And it's pretty cool. It's nice to have a bug out vehicle now, because we had too many close calls with storms last year. Helene could have been a very bad thing for my area, but she veered off at the last second. So, whew, moving on. So, the 1964 F100. So you can see we've got tires and we've got some Steely center caps that I purchased to finish out the look, and it looks so much better with real rubber under it, and all the wheels are free, which is great. I hope to get to this year. To be realistic, most likely it'll be cleaning out the inside, trying to do some basic repairs where I can, do some basic metal work, but mainly it's going to be trying to get the 223 that's inside of it, the straight six, try to get that running. Because otherwise, I'm going to wind up with like a project paralysis, right? Dalton on Pole Barn Garage talks about this, where you're so concerned about getting it right, about having everything ready, that you wind up letting the project sit for years and trying to accumulate parts for it, and then you never do it. And I'm trying really hard to avoid that. So the goal for this year is just get it to run. I know it'll turn over. I know that the last guy at least got the ignition straightened out enough that it'll turn over. If I can get it running at least, then maybe I can start to enjoy this a little bit before I rip out the running gear and put in this 302 I have sitting here, because going to fuel injected, it's not an old school 302, it's a fuel injected 302, so I'll need to get a kit for that, or I'll need to take this engine and roll it back to carbureted, but I don't know if I can do that with a 2001 302, which I've showed this on and off every now and again. But this is it's a 302 out of a 2001 Ford Explorer. So it's the spiciest of the 302s that you could get. And the way it's configured, it's pretty spicy. It's for a 302 anyway. That's not street modded or anything. It's 240 horsepower, I think. And it already has mini headers on it because it came out of a Ford Ranger. And I've got some ideas. I know Edelbrock makes a kit where you can just put generic fuel injection on something and it'll make things happen, and it's expensive. So not doing that, not unless the channel explodes and I just have crazy money. That's just not going to happen. But I can get this running. So that brings us over here to my 1997 Ford Econoline 150 or Ford E150 van, 5.4 liter Triton 2 valve in it, though it's a earlier version, doesn't quite have as much punch as the one that's in Miss Mildew. And if you follow my channel, you've seen this van a lot because it's a prima donna, and every single time I try to work on something else, it gets mad and it breaks, and then I have to fix it. And it's pretty annoying. But the goal for the van for next year, for this year, is really just keep it running. Minor maintenance. I'm not intending anything crazy. I do need to probably, and I can show you this because I'm up at the front stairs, I probably need to spray the top. It's pretty cooked. There is rust forming in the rain rail. I need to treat it, stop it before it gets any worse. It's a common issue on this van. And the only other thing I can really think of other than that, again, got some rust issues I still need to treat, is I figured out why the rear air conditioning is not blowing evenly. It is because the duct tubes, the actual flexi hose that runs from the rear blower up to the vents in the plenum or the false ceiling inside the top of the van, they're not sealed properly. They literally have huge air gaps. And when I make the video about that, I will show you how I figured that out. But I need to tighten that up. I might just use a hose clamp, maybe some actual true duct tape or some aluminum tape or something, but that should fix that problem. The one other thing that I may do, but probably not, is this thing has a slight exhaust leak now as a result of the timing job, as a result of me probably having to use an air hammer to get the EGR tube loose. I'm pretty sure that the gasket on the driver's exhaust manifold has degraded and it's got a little tiny leak, or it's the adapter bung that goes on the actual exhaust manifold. I beat that up really bad when I was trying to get that tube out, and I think that's leaking, which means a new exhaust manifold. Or getting that bung out and praying it doesn't rip all the threads up and getting a new bung in. Either way, that's kind of a stretch goal because the van runs, it drives, it doesn't throw any codes except for that stinky, bulky wheel speed sensor, which I probably just need to replace. And the fuel economy is in line with what it should be. So, I just want it to go from A to B. The kids enjoy it. And that is it for now on Enigma. So let's talk about Two-Step. She is on her way out, as a reminder, or to those who are new to the channel. This is a 1995 Gulfstream Sunsport RV, Class A RV. And the initial plan was my brother was going to live in this, so I worked pretty hard into getting its 454 that was inside of it out, which I succeeded in doing so. We got a replacement 454. We successfully got it back into the vehicle, and that's about where I stopped because it was taking up a huge amount of my time. And about that point, my brother moved out. He found another place to live. He was living with me at the time. And now he doesn't have a need for this. And I talked to him and I said, hey, this thing's falling apart. The rear window fell out. The front door fell off. And I need to know, what do you want to do with this thing? Because it's still savable. It's got a good 454 in it. And he said, I don't want it. He said, get rid of it. So that's where we are. And I've gotten rid of a ton of the parts. I was able to successfully move it out of my service bay. As you can see, that's where the Miata's chilling out right now. And here it sits. And if anybody happens to actually see this, this thing is for free. My brother has the title. I can get a hold of him pretty quickly. All you need to do is tow it out of here. That's it. You tow it out of here, you can do whatever you want with it. You get the 454 that's inside of it. You get any other kind of parts and doodads that are in here, which there's some decent ones. some other 454 engine parts. It's all yours. Do with it whatever you want, but you got to tow it out of here. So she's on her way out, and honestly, good riddance. So the last vehicle I have that is a project is this 1969 Lincoln Mark III Continental. I have introduced it on the channel. I think I'm going to call it Lincoln Log. I think that's a cute name, as long as nobody sues me. And plans for this year, I want to get it running, right? It's got a stock engine right now. I'm actually going to try to unstick that this weekend and then get it driving. Again, don't let perfect get in the way of good enough. So this thing is in pretty decent shape. If I can rebuild this window, get it running. Hopefully the C6 transmission in it is okay. It's a really tough transmission, so maybe. Get this rust nastiness stabilized in a couple of different places. You know, do some little bit of fiberglass work or whatever I need to do here to patch that off, because it don't need to be super pretty. That's not what this car is going to be. I don't have the time or the money to do anything remotely close to a full proper restoration. I mean, part of my process is this is going away, because I know all this stuff does is create rot. It's going to go away, and I intend to replace it with some, basically some bed liner. Some roll-on, spray-on bed liner after I neutralize any rust and take care of any of those issues. That's the plan. Like, I just noticed this metal tape right here, and that makes me scared. I'm kind of scared to see what happens when I peel this away. See how bad the rust is. Let's see. Because I'm pretty sure that's not factory. Actually, that looks okay. I think somebody put that there as a preventative to keep it from rusting out. All right. But I doubt the factory put aircraft tape right there. But good on you, whoever did that. So anyway, that is the plan for Lincoln Log here, is because I would love, absolutely love to get it, you know, to where it's reasonably safe and drivable, and just show up and pick up my kids from school one day. I think that would be just hilarious. You know, she's got good rubber underneath her. I took care of that. So it's just a matter of getting it running and getting it driving, which I think is doable. So the other two things of note on the channel, I have this triple axle trailer that I acquired to pull heavy vehicles and things like that. I have not done a thing to it other than just get it here and move it here. I haven't touched it, and I'll be honest with you guys, unless funds pick up, right, from YouTube, I don't know if I'll get to this year. I may make it a priority because I've missed out on some opportunities because I didn't have a trailer. You know, I found a good example. I found a guy who was selling a 97 F-250 heavy duty. So that was the actual equivalent of a Super Duty before Super Duty was a thing. It had the Sterling 10.5 axle. You know, it had a 460 in it. It was heavy duty stuff. About the only thing that would have made it better is if it had a diesel in it, if it had the original Power Stroke. And it had a service bed on it, and this service bed was in mint condition. It was gorgeous. And I talked the guy down to, he said that it didn't have a working computer. And I talked the guy down to $750. And I could have had this thing. and the truck was in decent shape. I probably could have gotten it running without much issue, but I couldn't go get it. Right? When you're talking something that big with a service bed, you can't go really rent something from U-Haul, and there's not a lot of equipment rental around me. And I couldn't just go get it because my trailer is a death trap. So he sold that truck, and good on him, get him some money. But that was an opportunity missed, right? I could have gone with a service bed versus just a regular bed. And yeah. So anyway, I want to get that fixed up, and then also get that one straightened out, that you see that the trailer or the truck bed is sitting on. That one's in better shape. I just got to do a little bit of welding and a bunch of rust removal and all that jazz. And if I do that, then it just got to lay a wooden deck. And that one's also already registered and everything. So I'm actually paying money every year to keep it clean, keep it legal, keep a tag on it. So I'm not earning anything from it right now, which is kind of annoying. But I'm gonna get one of these two trailers running so I can either take care of light vehicles, which is what this one can do, or I'll be able to carry lots of heavy stuff. It's just that one needs more work because those are mobile home axles and mobile home tires, and I could get the brakes and everything fixed up on it, but I don't want to do that. I want to do it correctly, put Dayton axles under it, and that's going to be, about $7,000 to straighten it out, which $7,000 for that, to do it right, that's not a bad deal. You're still coming out a bit ahead versus if you bought it brand new. But yeah, one of these two trailers is going to be fixed so I can actually haul around stuff, because right now I can't haul anything. If it doesn't fit in the bed of Miss Mildew, it doesn't go. So that is pretty much it for the fleet, and I just wanted to add at the end of this video a big thank you to everyone who has subscribed, who watches the videos, who leaves the comments, and engages in the channel. We almost doubled the number of subscribers over the course of 2024, and there is no way on earth I would have done it without you guys, so thank you. I really do mean it. This channel does make enough money now that I can actually plan out builds, and I will try to keep to a once per week schedule best that I can. May not always be able to do that because this doesn't make enough for me to, make a living off of or anything. And I am a full-time dad and a full-time worker, so this does get done in my extra hours. But I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy seeing folks come in and say, hey, you saved me a bunch of money, or you saved me some time, or you're the video that had that one little part that nobody else filmed that made things ridiculous. So I'm going to keep trying to do what I'm doing, and I hope that everyone enjoyed their new year and their Christmas. And I look forward to 2025 with some hope and optimism that, great things will continue to come for this channel. So with that, again, thank you, and signing off for this episode.